Hello, welcome to Postcolonial Space. I'm Masood Raja, and I'm kind of making it a habit to do at least one odd video log every morning, but ideally every morning, but more regularly. And today I'm responding to a query that came up in response to my two videos in postcolonial concepts on appropriation and abrogation. And there was some kind of confusion where the distinction wasn't very clear. So I thought I should record something as a supplement to those two videos. So first of all, both appropriation and abrogation are related to the colonial experience. So keep that in mind. And the colonial experience is material, political, and also semiotic. It's also about knowledge and who produces it and which knowledge is privileged. Before delving into the deeper understanding of these terms, for which I highly recommend you should read, let's go by their literal meanings. Appropriation is when you take something and make it your own. It might have another purpose, but you take that thing and appropriate it, convert it to a different use. That's an act of appropriation, right? In tools, we always do that, right? We don't have a hammer, but we use a heavy plier to drive a nail. That's appropriation. We are appropriating the original function of a tool to do something else. Abrogation, by its very meaning, means when you repudiate whatever is established or claims to be true and replace it with a different version. In both the cases, you're interacting with something that is the original purpose, original intent, or original function of a thing, or a norm that has been established, which in postcolonial studies is the norm established by the colonial processes. So an act of appropriation in literary studies would be where an author would use the Western form, even their language, right? English, the novelistic form, appropriate it to tell their own stories, to even write revolutionary novels. That's an act of appropriation. You're using the language or the system that the colonizers created to control the populations and then mobilizing it towards revolution. An act of abrogation would be a denial of the colonial episteme and replacing it with your native knowledges and native ideas. So let's say, the English say we invented democracy, and you basically go to the panchayat system and say, no, we always had this kind of representative democracy, and highlight that. That is abrogating the truth claim of the colonizer and mobilizing your own. In terms of writing, it could be denial of Western forms of writing and then privileging qasida, right? Or katha, or dastan, your own mode of writing, oral narratives. So privileging those would be abrogating the Western systems and then privileging what you consider are purely native ways of representation. So that's the subtle difference. Appropriation takes whatever is available, language, forms, and system, and mobilizes it to do something with it. Abrogation completely wants to eliminate whatever was offered and replace it with natively constituted and thought ideas and forms of expression. So this succinctly is what I think these are some of the distinctions between the two terms. So I would highly recommend you watch my terms, videos on those terms, and then watch this as a supplement, but more importantly, read, right? Find detailed essays about these topics and then form your opinions. A good point to start would be the Key Concepts book by Bill Ashcraft and others, because they have some really good entries there, and then they give you also their sources for where they have, read about those entries. That would be a good beginning point. I hope this clarifies somewhat the doubt that I might have created or left in those videos, and I hope it enables you to understand the concepts and terms better. That's all. Thank you so much for your support. I will now see you next time with another video and on a concept or anything related to literary studies. Until then, stay safe, take care of each other, and as always, peace and love.